Hello again. Now we're going to go ahead and start making the side of the car. I'm going to show you on this photo on which elements I plan to focus on in this chapter. First, I'm going to go ahead and gain a smooth arc here in the front of the car. I'm going to show you how to create this nice brake, and then we will try to make a better wheel cover over the tire. In the end, we're going to create this hump on the top. So let's start. First of all, we need to go ahead and create the side of the body. To do this, I'm going to go ahead and copy these edges in the side view. Now that I've copied them, I'm going to need to move them a little to the front to position the vertex exactly over the middle of the wheel. Now, I'm going to need to equalize the new vertex. This will be easier when we have an equal wire. This will help us gain a smooth and more perfect shape. Alright, now those vertexes are on the front and a little to the top. And the next one. As you can see, those first vertexes are too far. Just look at the blueprint. I will have to move them back to position them correctly. I think that's going to be enough. Now, I think I'm going to go ahead and move the third vertex back a little bit as well. Alright, and I think I'll change the position of this vertex as well. Alright, once we have that completed, let's go ahead and go to the front view, because I'm going to have to position the new edges to the blueprint. Alright, that's going to be good right there. Now in the top view, we should position the front vertex exactly to the blueprint, because as you can see, to the original shape. Alright, I'm going to move this vertex just a little bit. But as you can see, I'm going to have to go ahead and correct its position in the front view. Alright, that's going to look just about right. Now I'm going to have to go ahead and thicken my wire by adding new segments. As you can see, that two vertexes don't match to the rest, so I should improve it to correct the shape. Now I'm going to have to go ahead and move all those new vertexes to make a nice arc, just like on the blueprint. You'll need a little experience in work like this, but after a few models, you will know how to position vertexes to gain a smooth shape. I think my shape is going to be just about right now. So I can add another line of vertexes, because I need to get a higher number of polygons here. Okay, now again I need to reposition the vertexes to gain a smooth arc. Now I have to make equal lengths between the vertexes, and this is very important, because the more equal the geometry, the more smooth surface we're going to get. Alright, that's nice, but I'm going to need to improve the position of the vertexes in the front. Just like that. Maybe I'll move this a little bit too. I think that's going to be just perfect now. Oops, I need to move this last vertex just a little bit. Now, I'm going to have to try to edit this geometry to build a nice looking hump. First of all, I'll have to cut these edges. I'll make the top of the hump from this new vertex, so I have to move them up a little bit. Okay, now I just need to weld those vertexes, and that should be good. I need to do this to reduce the 5-sided polygon. Remember, you should always try to build geometry, especially with 4-sided polygons. Alright, I'll move this welded vertex a little bit, which will give us a nice smooth arc. Now I'm going to leave the hump just like it is now. The geometry of this element is good, so later I'll change a few details on this, but now I want to go ahead and make the top part of this element. First, I'll add a new segment here, which will give us a nice and equal geometry. Okay, now let's go ahead and copy the bottom edges, but just a little bit. So now the vertex is exactly on the line of the wheel. Now I'm going to go ahead and select all the vertexes except this one in the center and move them down. And maybe I'll correct this vertex just a little bit right here. Alright, I'll go ahead and copy the bottom edges again once I've adjusted the vertexes, but this time without two edges in the center. This will give us a nice wheel. It's a good method to build such elements because all the polygons we created are 4-sided. Of course, I need to position the new vertexes to the blueprints as usual, and I'll have to change the geometry a little bit by moving the other vertexes. I need to pay attention when moving my vertexes because we can destroy the nice shape that we've already created. Alright, I think that's going to be just, move that one a little bit as well. There we go. I think that's going to be good right there. Once we've gone ahead and done this, we're going to need to change viewports to the front view. Because remember, we need to position all of the wires and all the viewports and not just one. Alright, as you can see, I'm moving this vertex over to the left to gain a little bit better shape. Alright, that's going to be good right there. Now we're back to the side view, and I'm going to continue to copying the edges to create new segments. we do exactly what we did before, copy edges, and then go ahead and position the vertex to the blueprint. Now, I'm going to need to correct the geometry of the other vertexes as well. Of course, it's not necessary, but I like to have a clean and equal wire across our polygons. This helps a lot when you're doing your work. Now, we're going to have to go ahead and do the other side of the wheel here, and I won't position this vertex precisely because I don't want to waste the time, but it's good to spend more time to make it correct. And now I'm going to copy these edges one more time to make another segment, which will be the last time. Alright, now we just need to do a little bit of work with the vertexes again. Alright, that's going to be good right there. So let's go ahead and use NURMS subdivisions to see the results of our work. Well, as you can see, it's perfect. Now we need to correct the position of the vertex in the front view again. It'll be easy because the vertexes on both sides of the wheel are on this same level. So let's go ahead and move a vertex a little bit to the left, and I want to gain a nice arc. Alright, I think that's going to be good right there. But as you can see, there's another big mistake between the blueprints. The bumper is higher on the front blueprint than it is on the side blueprint. Alright, what's next? Maybe we should go ahead and look at those vertexes. We need to move them away from the center of the car. Look, on the blueprint, this line should be more straight. There we go. And we're going to adjust that one as well. That looks better now. Perfect. Now I'm going to show you the fast and easy way to model the details on the wheel. What we're going to need to do is that we have to model some kind of extraction here. We'll do this by copying the edges of the wheel. So let's go ahead and select all edges. And now I need to scale them down with the Shift key pressed. Alright, now that we've got the new segments, we need to position the vertex so they will be suited to the blueprints. And as you can see, I usually work with the objects in transparent mode so I can see the blueprints. So just a reminder that you can make your object transparent by pressing Alt-X on your keyboard. Okay, now I'm in the middle of the wheel, and the next vertex. I know this takes a little bit of time, but you need to be patient, because we want to make it as precise as possible. Now we just need to do these last two vertexes, and that's going to look good right there. Now we can simply move all of the new edges of the wheel away from the body to gain a nicer extraction. And we'll just take a few little adjustments here, and just be reminded, go ahead and through and take your time, follow your blueprint scales to get the position that you need to take, and we'll go ahead and move these a little bit over. And I need to make a nice shape, so we'll go ahead and position the bottom of the vertex near the car body as well. There we go. And just do a little bit more work on your vertexes and get them sequential across. Alright, now let's go ahead and see how it looks with NURM subdivision. Okay, that looks pretty good. We have to do one more thing, make a more sharp transition between the extraction and the car body. Now there's this little bug in the geometry on the front, but we can go ahead and fix that later. Now we need to select all of the edges, which are going to be our 4 transitions between the extraction and the body, and next we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of chamfer on them. Once you have them selected, we'll just go ahead, right click and use our chamfer tool. Now let's go ahead, once we've done that, and add NURM subdivision. As you can see, we need to go ahead and improve the geometry just a little bit. In the 2 places we've got some bugs, but we can fix those pretty fast. We just need to weld these 2 vertexes, which was created in the chamfer process. We'll go ahead and select these 2 vertexes and go down to our options on the right and weld. And also, if you don't want to find the weld option all of the time, you can go ahead and make a hotkey and weld the vertex faster. I think I'll go ahead and show you how to do this. We need to find the custom user interface, and there's choose editable polygon object as category. Next, we need to find our option. This time, weld vertex and choose hotkey. In my case, it's Control X, and that is all. Once you've selected what hotkey you want to use, you'll be able to use that hotkey to do the weld vertex function much faster, without having to scroll through the options. All you need to do is select the vertex you want to weld, and press your hotkey, and voila. Alright, now our geometry is correct. We're going to go ahead and add NURM subdivision to show you. As you can see, everything is okay. But remember, I have to improve a little bit from the body because there were some bugs earlier. There we are. Go ahead and uncheck your NURM subdivision and let's select our vertexes and move them a little bit. Sometimes you really can't see bugs in the geometry when you're not working on low poly objects, so it's good to add NURM subdivision or a mesh smooth modifier. Sometimes you can even assign to the object a material with a high level of glossiness and reflection, and for this you'll be able to see the light refraction, which will uncover a lot of failings. Excellent, now it's fixed. We're going to go back to the hump and make a sharper edge, because they don't look real, kind of like a toy car. As always, we're going to go ahead and use the chamfer tool again to gain a more angular shape. So let's select the edges we're going to chamfer, and remember about the loop tool, which can save a lot of time. But we don't want to chamfer these edges down here, so we're going to deselect those. Now we're ready to chamfer the edges that we want. Excellent. That's going to look good right there. Now, of course, we need to correct this operation. So I'm going to weld the two vertexes, and I'll need to change the position of the vertex on the right side of the hump, because I don't want to have sharp edges only on the top of the hump and on the left side of it, and the right side should be smooth. Alright, this vertex is incorrect right here. I need to move it. And now I need to increase the distance between our vertexes, which were created in the chamfer process. Now they are too close to each other, and this could make a more angular effect, which we don't want to have. Now, let's see how this looks. That looks to be okay. But let's look from another angle. Oops. Looks like we've got a problem here. So let's go ahead and prove it right now, because it won't take too much time. We just need to move a few vertexes a little bit, and that should be alright. Okay, let's go ahead and improve the front of the hump. I need to weld 2 more vertexes to reduce the 5-sided polygon that we have. So we're going to select our vertexes that we need to weld and use our hotkey. Now we're going to have to correctly position the vertexes. Go ahead and turn off NURM subdivision again, and we're just going to need to do a little bit of vertex work and adjust a few tweaks here. I'm going to pull that vertex down, select the one below it, and move that. There we go. That's looking a little bit better and more real. So turn NURBS back on, and let's check it out. That looks a lot better. Now I'm going to go ahead and make a base for the front shape of the car. But this is pretty easy. I'm only going to need to have a few vertexes, so I just need to copy a few of the edges. And I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here and come back when it's done. Okay, now we have a simple front. Now I'm going to go ahead and create a cross line on the body, and I have to choose the edges that are going to be in the place where this line should be. Of course, we're going to use the chamfer tool. I will move a little bit of the upper edges, and it'll give us a nice break. Now, I'm going to move the vertex a little bit to correct the shape. I want to have a smooth crossing between the body and this new line. There we go. That looks good. Now I need to weld those 2 vertexes, and I'll create a 3-sided polygon. But don't worry, we can correct this very soon. First, I need to cut those polygons above our new line. I'll use the quick slice tool. In the second chapter I showed you how to use it. I'm going to go ahead and copy all of our polygons that we need to do and use our quick slice tool that I've showed you how to do in chapter 2. And once I've done the quick slice, now we've got a line cutting through all the polygons that we have selected, which is exactly what we wanted to do. Excellent. Now we've got the 4-sided polygon that we needed. And maybe I'll move this vertex just a little bit here. Now I'm wondering, how does this look? Well, it looks nice. This is the end of the chapter for now. We've created a good looking wheel and 2 hard elements like the hump and this cross line. Now we need to model a few elements like the front of the body, but that will be an easy process, so I'm going to go ahead and do this process by myself.